Hey y'all, I'm about to start my live. Hopefully reception is good here. I'm in LA right now. And I have a quick chat. I'm going to probably send this out to people afterwards, save the replay. We'll see. I'm talking about vegan diet, why I gave up my vegan cult life. I'm not here to offend all the vegans. So I'm going to talk about why I went from being vegan to not being vegan, and as I studied more sports nutrition and just kind of going down my own journey. I'm going to try to keep it brief. I'm probably going to split this up into, hey, what's up, dude? I'm going to probably turn this into 2 separate chats because I just got way too much stuff to talk about today. And I was like, there's no way I can cover vegan and fiber and nutrition and 1,000 things. So I'm going to get right to it. And I will probably post this later. I was kind of kidding when I said the vegan cult, but I was vegan for about 8, almost 9 years, and I'll explain why and what I got from it. And I kind of mean that in a positive way. If you know people who are vegan and they're so pro-vegan, I really didn't often tell a lot of people that I was, because I think there's just so much stigma, oh my gosh, you're one of them. All those people talk about is how they're vegan, be vegan. And so I tried to not be that way, also because I was doing some nutrition coaching, and I really think, honestly, ultimately, I'm just going to share what works for me and go over the math and the facts and the science. And if you're vegan, that's cool. If you're not, that's cool. I'm not here to bash anybody, but the reason why I call it kind of a cult is there's a lot of times people have these really strong feelings attached to their choices, and whether you're vegan or carnivore or whatever, keto, people are very attached to that emotionally. And my whole thing is facts over your feelings. So I wanted to be vegan because for a variety of reasons. One is I love animals. I want to save help the environment. And also I was having a lot of stomach issues, and I felt I just wasn't really healthy, as I was doing a lot of triathlon at the time. And this was triathlon endurance racing, and I saw Rich Roll, and I was like, oh my God, vegan, this is the answer. I need to do this. This is going to be this is going to fix all my problems. And look at all this research, and meat is horrible, and cholesterol, and And so, and I had a lot of stomach stuff in the past where I'd gone to doctors, and my dad's a doctor, by the way. So I have nothing against Western medicine. I have a doctorate in physical therapy. I have a master's degree in exercise science. So I love MDs. I love Western medicine. I always kind of look at everything let's look at the bigger picture and take our emotions and our feelings out of it. And let's try to embrace as much as we can and do what's best for us, and not be bound to one ideology, right? Whether it's Western medicine, Eastern medicine, vegan, keto, carnivore, whatever. And so I was okay, well, I have all these stomach issues, and every doctor was oh, you have IBS. And I'm okay, well, whatever. There's which I said IBS basically means we don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. Your stomach is always hurting. Take some medicine. So I would go to the doctor, and they'd be okay, we have IBS. This is when I was starting off in triathlon. This is in my 20s. You have IBS, your stomach always hurts. Take this medicine. I was okay. They're stop drinking alcohol, stop drinking caffeine. You're too stressed out, So I did all that stuff. I still had stomach problems. None of that fixed anything. They're take out dairy. Take out dairy kind of helped a little bit, actually. And so then I was I can't sleep well. I'm stressed out. I'm going to grad school, 2 grad schools. I'm racing triathlons. I'm getting into this. I'm doing all this stuff. Can't sleep. Okay, we'll take an Ambien. Can't sleep, take an Ambien. And I was okay, first of all, never take Ambien. It wrecks your sleep. And there's so much stuff that long-term ill effects of things to help you go to sleep wrecked my sleep. Kind of helped my sleep. So I was okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And finally I was okay, well, vegan, maybe that's going to fix a lot of these issues I've been having, stomach, stress, sleep, blah, blah, blah. So I looked into it, and, I saw a lot of stuff posted about oh my gosh, and I also just kind of felt I was doing so many sports, triathlons and running, but I just didn't really feel I was in shape. I just kind of felt skinny fat. And I wrote that not to be judgmental to people who are fat or shaming, but I literally just felt I just didn't have a lot of tone. And so okay, well, I'm gonna get on this vegan diet. This is gonna work. This is gonna fix all my problems. So I did. And I really I went all in. I gave up everything. I was you know what? I have a dog. I love animals. This makes sense. And I did it. And I'm going to be honest, I call it a cult, and it's kind of one of the best cults that you can be in. So people think I'm going to be bagging on vegan diet. I'm not at all. I learned so much from being vegan about, ultimately on my journey about just eating more plants and veggies and doing what I can for the environment. And I think there's like a lot of like really well-intentioned people. And so I learned a lot from that. And I was like, okay. And I started to kind of feel good. And then I realized, and I kind of did the math, and I was like, I don't really feel like great, but I feel like decent, and like all my stomach problems like aren't really fixed, and like my sleep is still kind of crappy, and like, okay, I'm doing this vegan thing. And so I did it. And then I got all these sports nutrition certifications, and I started to look more into like nutrition. This was for myself. This wasn't because I wanted to coach people. I wanted to just like learn. I was like, dude, they don't teach you this shit in school. And like, I feel like we learn as athletes, we learn all the other stuff, and like, and I went to PT school. I have a master's degree in exercise science. I took nutrition courses at UCLA undergrad. And I still was like, dude, I don't know what the hell, like, I really don't know what I'm eating. And the problem is I went vegan, and this is the reason why I stopped, is like, I just didn't really know enough about like how to fuel my body properly. And I think most people, not to be bagging on vegans, but there's a lot of skinny fat vegans out there. Like, y'all, hey, if it's processed, it's still garbage, dude. Like, if it's like fake meat, that shit is still not good for you. Or like what I was doing is I was like, I don't really know how to cook. I don't really understand nutrition. So I was like, I'm just gonna eat a bunch of salads and like fake meat and like fake cheese. And like, I kind of felt crappy. And I was like, that's not the answer. So people, I think a lot of times, like if you're gonna go vegan, dude, do the math, learn the numbers, understand. And I'm gonna tell you why I really stopped going vegan, is because my body composition was not good. Like my body fat percentage, when I say body composition, that means your body fat percentage. So I was like, okay, well, I'm skinny. How can you tell the difference between feeling great versus feeling good? Yeah. Like, here's the thing with a vegan diet. So there's the good and the bad. And so what I love about the vegan diet and plant-based diets is veggies. You need freaking veggies. All these people who are like, only eat meat, carnivore diet, like, dude, you guys are in a cult too, and like, unfortunately, that shit's even worse for you, right? So like, let's just find the happy medium. Can we all just get along? Can we all just be friends and like figure out what's like working for all of us? So the stuff that I got from being vegan that was great is veggies. I added way more veggies into my diet because I was like, dude, I don't know what else to like eat. The downside is, veggies are carbs, just so that you know. Veggies are carbohydrate. And I was like, okay, well, I need more protein. I know that, right? I was like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna do some fake meat. I'm gonna do some tofu. I'm gonna give you guys some numbers so you can figure out why this does not work for me and why there's a lot of skinny fat vegans, right? I love you guys, but some of you guys need to stop eating all that processed shit. So you need protein. You absolutely need protein. Now, you need carbs as an endurance athlete. So when Rich rolls like, oh yeah, I'm vegan, great. Well, first of all, the dude's rich and has people cooking for him. So he can have the most optimized vegan diet on the planet. The rest of us, like me and like you guys, if you don't really understand all your macros and what you need, and you're just eating like salads and like processed fake meats, dude, that's not it. That's not it. You are not gonna get enough protein, and you're gonna increase your body composition. And I'll tell you why, meaning you're gonna gain body fat. So you're gonna kind of end up being a skinny fat person. Now, you need enough adequate protein in your day as an athlete, just like you need carbs. So carbs are great, and I ate more veggies, right? So veggies are carbs are great. So I had fuel, right? If we look at carbohydrate at its most basic principle, and again, this is just giving you guys some nutrition information, just so you understand, and then you make your own choices. I have vegan clients, I have vegetarian clients, I have carnivore clients, I have keto, and da, 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 da. Fine, I just want to educate you. That's all I'm here to do, and tell you about what's working for me. So if you have veggies and you eat a ton of veggies in your diet, well, that's a lot of carbs. That's great. And it's also a lot of fiber, and you need fiber for your gut health. And you need veggies for your healthy gut and microbiome. That's how the rest of your body stays healthy, right? Immunity, longevity, joint, tendon, whatever, all that stuff, right? So you need that, right? There's a gut-brain connection as well. So fiber's great, veggies are great. Veggies are also great because they are carbohydrates, right? So if you were like me and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go vegan, but I don't really understand what macros mean. I'm just gonna eat more like salads and stuff, and then I'll eat like a fake meat. That ends up being a lot of carbs, and that's gonna fuel your workouts, but it's not gonna give you enough protein. And really if you only listen to this part, this is the most important part. The reason I stopped being vegan is I could not get enough protein in my diet to do what I need to do. Now, this is why. I'm a tiny person. I'm 5'1", I'm small. But I wanted to get more muscle mass. I wanted to improve my body composition, meaning I wanted to decrease my body fat, increase my muscle mass. Well, you need a lot of protein to do that. So I'm a tiny human, and I need still, if I wasn't exercising, didn't even want to like gain weight. You're looking at protein intake per day, approximately. And you guys can do more specific stuff. You can message me. You can get any of my plans. I teach you how to do this. Approximately your weight in your pounds, not kilos, is how many grams of protein you need per day. So as a vegan, if you don't know your shit and you don't figure out the protein grams per day, you're not getting enough protein. And I'm going to explain why that's so hard for vegan athletes to do and all of my clients, and why it's even harder for men and bigger people. I'm tiny, so if I need 100 to 150 grams of protein per day, right? And my goal is I want to race, I want to be athletic, I want to improve my muscle mass, but I want to keep my body composition low. Like I'm happy with where I'm at. I want to be fit, right? So I need to get 100 and 150 grams of protein per day. People are like, oh, well, you could just eat almonds. Almonds have protein. Yeah, they don't have that much. People think nuts have a high source of protein. It doesn't. Do the math. Do the math. You get protein. Here's the problem with almonds. You want to get a cup of almonds. I'll tell you how many calories is in a half a cup of almonds. It's almost 600 calories. I wrote it down because I was like, I'm going to forget some of this stuff. 21 grams of protein. So let's just look at some almonds. 21 grams of protein is in half a cup of almonds. It's almost 600 calories. So if I want to get my daily requirements of protein with almonds, that's a shit ton of almonds. And that's almost 4,000 calories. Now, do you think that I need 4,000 calories even if I'm writing for 5 hours? No. You're going to get fat. You're going to be skinny fat, right? So again, it's not just almonds. What about tofu? Tofu is a great source. And again, I suggest tofu to a ton of my plant-based athletes because tofu is relatively lower calorie and it's a pretty high protein content. So your weight in pounds is approximately how many grams of protein you need a day. So let's just say it's 160. So you weigh 160 pounds. So you need about 160 grams. And this is, again, if you're not I'm trying to gain mass right now. I'm trying to gain muscle. So that's why my numbers are higher. Guess what? If you're over 40, your numbers are even higher. Because after the age of 35, you're losing muscle mass every year. I go over this in all my plans. I have a female athlete over 40 plan. I have an adult athlete 40 plus plan. You need more protein, right? So do the math. Facts over your feelings. I love whoever said that. Look at the math. Okay, tofu. Fine. Tofu, I think tofu and chickpeas and tempeh. Okay, here's the math. 17 grams of protein for tofu. Okay, great. There's also a lot more carbs in tofu versus chicken breast. Let's just compare chicken breast, tofu. There's almost twice the amount of protein in a chicken breast versus tofu. There's also no carbs in chicken, and there's a ton in tofu. Now, that's not a big deal, but if your goal is to lose weight and lean up, then you're going to have to eat a ton of tofu. Also, the other part about being vegan is you are so limited in your protein choices. Most people are just going to get bored. It's really limiting. So unless you are on point with your protein in grams. So the tofu, you'd need to eat a lot of tofu every day. A lot. Okay, what about protein powder? Again, protein powder is great. Even vegan, plant-based protein powder, that's great. You still need more leucine because veggies tend to be not full aminos. So you need to get all of the amino acids to build. That's the building block of muscles, is amino acids, by the way. So a veggie, even tofu, which is a complete protein, meaning it has all the essential aminos. Most of those protein powders, they still don't have enough leucine if they're plant-based. So you need to get added leucine. Now, that goes back to my original thing. If you're just doing a bunch of processed stuff, and again, protein powder is processed, right? Just like fake meat. So if you're on a vegan diet, you are going to be having to take in a lot more processed foods, right? So that makes it challenging, right? The goal is as little as possible. I always say 80-20, right? You eat some processed shit, whatever, I had a Starbucks, fine, whatever. We're not trying to be perfect here. And again, my goal is never to be, I'm not trying to be polarized. This is good, that's bad. I'm just trying to give you guys some numbers. So if you need 160 grams of protein every day, you would need to have about 4,000 calories. If that was almond, you would need to have like bushels of kale, bushels, those bags at Trader Joe's that have kale. Kale's a good source of protein for a plant, right? So is broccoli, spinach. You need to have bags and bags and bags and bags. Not only are you going to go way over your calories, just to be healthy. I'm not talking about you're trying to lean up, just to be healthy. So you're going to way over your calories if you're just doing tempeh or seitan or tofu or almonds. There's no way you could eat all those veggies in a day. You need to have to eat bags and bags of spinach and kale to get the amount of protein that you need. And that's why I stopped being vegan. The math did not add up. So, and I'm tiny. So when I have male athletes, because males tend to be bigger, or female athletes, or somebody who's a bigger person, I say, hey, listen, you're gonna have to do the math and figure this out. And if you're vegan, you're gonna need to supplement with leucine and because a lot of those veggies don't have they're not the full aminos, right? They don't have all the essential aminos. Now tofu does and some other ones do, but again, you're still gonna need more. And then if you're vegan, you're still gonna have to supplement with more protein powder. Now I do a protein shake every day because not only I'm not vegan, I do have some chicken breast and I don't eat a lot of red meat. There's goods and pros and cons to all this stuff, right? Cholesterol, egg whites, and eggs. My whole thing is like, you guys, like, can we just find a happy medium here? But you need to do the math first and figure out like, what does your body need? And ultimately, like, I still love animals. I still care about the environment. I do everything that I can to be like the best person that I can. And I applaud people who follow a vegan diet. But if you are not on your game and you don't know the numbers, that's why I built these programs. Like, I'm not trying to sell my programs, but like, I built all these plans because I was like, dude, like people are vegan and they're still eating like shit. Like they're not getting enough protein in their day, or they're just eating all the processed fake stuff. Or they're just way over their calories, like, oh, I'm fat, but I went vegan. I'm like, yeah, dude, because you're eating like a freaking cup of almonds is like 2,000 calories almost. And then that's still not satiating and it's still not enough protein at all. So again, I'm not here to bag on it. And again, what I learned from being vegan that saved me and that I'm so grateful for is that veggies, you can't just do the meat. You can't just do the egg whites. You can't just do the beef jerky. Like I tell my clients, the first thing I look at with a nutrition client, and the first thing in all my plans is look at your protein. Figure that out. Understand what a protein is. And when I say essential amino acids, that's the amino acids are the building blocks of protein. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible. Sorry, I keep blabbing. But amino acids, those are the building blocks of protein. And the problem is if you look at the research, again, facts over your feelings. I love the vegans. I love all of you guys. Do what you got to do. The bioavailability, the ability of your body to digest those aminos and you have much better digestibility and bioavailability in animal-based proteins. That's just facts. That's just the facts, right? Now, that being said, does that mean don't eat veggies? Hell no, dude. Like the second thing that I tell people besides get more protein is eat more veggies. Because fiber, micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, the spectrum, you need to eat the veggies colors of the rainbow. It's also going to help with your satiety. It's going to help your gut health. Again, gut brain connection. People don't understand this. That is so vital to your hormones. Female athletes 40 plus, you need to have a healthy gut, and things change, especially that's a whole other topic, dealing with female athletes over 40, over 35 or perimenopausal. But like your gut is incredibly important, right? So if you're just eating meat, like, yo, that is not it either, right? So like people are so polarized these days, like one versus the other. And I'm like, can we just look at the science, take the emotion out of it, and really figure out what's going to work best for you? Now, if you can stick to a vegan diet and you can understand how many protein grams per day you need to fuel, whether your goal is to gain muscle or lose body fat, it's a lot. You're going to have to do the research. And again, you're going to have to supplement with protein powder in some form. It's going to be almost impossible to do it just eating greens and tempeh and seitan and tofu and chickpeas. And if your goal is to really improve your body composition, right? So my goal was, I just didn't want to be skinny fat. I felt like I was skinny fat. I had the carbs, the veggies, and the fuel, but I just still didn't feel good. Like I was still eating processed stuff. And even when I cut out a lot of like the fake meats, I still didn't feel strong and resilient because I wasn't getting enough protein, right? So you're going to have to do 2 to 3 protein shakes a day probably. If a scoop of protein is 20 grams, and you need to get 160 grams in a day, more if you're a bigger dude, bigger chick, whatever, you're gonna have to do the math, right? Chickpeas, 20 grams. Like, look at the numbers. I Googled this stuff. Tempeh, 20 grams protein for 100 calories, for 100 grams, half a cup, but the calories are way higher, right? So you look at everything. Don't overcomplicate it, but I really want people to understand that, like, to get what you need on a plant-based diet, you're gonna have to go way high calorie if you're getting things like nuts, and things like tempeh, and tofu's lower, but again, tofu still has nowhere near the amount of protein as like chicken or salmon or steak. And then the last little bit is, if your goal really is body composition, right? You don't want to be taking in like excess calories, and or you want to really focus on protein. Well, a chicken breast has 0 carbs, and tofu has almost the same amount of carbs as it does protein, right? So we're looking at macros, which is carbs, fats, proteins, and we're looking at lean sources. And if the numbers just don't add up if you're going for body composition, which is why I hate to bag on a lot of these like plant-based athletes, but like they have a high body fat percentage. And ultimately, my goal is whatever's going to serve you, I'm here to do. Whether it's you want to improve your race performance, whether it's, I have clients who are like, I just want to lose 10 pounds. Like, you know, I just want to improve my body. Like, I just want to fit in my cycling bibs better. Okay, great. I'm just giving you the facts. Like, I'm taking all the feelings out of it. I love animals. I love the planet. But you guys got to do the numbers and really figure out, like, is this going to work for me? And if you are, you have to be on point with understanding what macros you need. And then also realize, like, the bioavailability of a lot of these plants, it's not the same. You are not going to get the same effects as eating meat and other animal-based products. Now, that's your choice, and that's totally cool. I support it 100%. On the flip side, if all you do is do chicken breast, I mean, I tell a lot of my clients, yo, like, put a fucking vegetable in like you should be aiming for a vegetable in almost every meal, right? I read a research article and it's like, you want to aim for like 30 different types of veggies per week. 30 different types for a healthy gut, right? People are so caught up in prebiotics, probiotics, and it's really, I think ultimately what we're going to find is that like everyone's gut is different. And so the probiotics you need, I'm not telling people to get probiotics. I'm like, yo, just eat more veggies, eat more fruits, variety, right? So figure that out, add more veggies, add more protein, start with protein. Look at the numbers. If you're not hitting them, and again, the fake stuff, processed. If it's a fake meat, that's still processed. If it's a protein powder, that's still processed, right? So that's my little thing. I'm going to go into fiber and gut health next time, but that's kind of where I came to the conclusion that like, yo, I feel good about what I'm doing, like environmentally, not with factory farming, but these days, like, I'm going to be honest about how I eat. I do have chicken breast every now and then. I do have egg whites every now and then, cause I need it. I just wasn't getting enough protein. My body is stronger. My muscle mass has improved. If you look at pictures of me before and now, I'm not skinny now, like I'm leaner, but I have way more muscle mass. And is that because I'm not vegan? No, it's probably because it's easier for me to get protein in now. Like most people just don't have the time, the energy, or the education to actually get enough protein when they're going plant-based. So if you have the time and you understand the macros and you understand amino acids and you understand that you're going to need to supplement and you understand that you need to get more leucine and you're really good about looking at the numbers, great, do it. It's fabulous. I support it. I fully support it. But it's going to be a hell of a lot more challenging. And most people don't have the time and they don't give a shit. They just want to eat, right? So that's why I did what I did. I decided this is working for me. I feel great. I feel better. I think that's all I have to say for today. But really, if you guys have more questions, let me know in the comments. Like this is why I made these like plans that I did, is because, and you don't need to buy any of my stuff. Just, I'm telling you, like, this is why I wanted to make them, is so that people understand, like, what are you fueling your body with? Nobody teaches us this stuff. And I even as in a master's degree in exercise science and doctorate, like doctors don't learn about nutrition. So I'm trying to just educate you guys a little bit on how to optimize your body. Yes, you need carbohydrates. Absolutely, you need carbohydrates, but you also need protein, especially as you get older, right? And you need protein if you want to build muscle. And if you want to build muscle, that's going to help your sports. That's going to help your longevity. That's going to help support your bones. That's going to help improve your body composition. The more muscle mass you have, the more your metabolism is working for you. So that's it, you guys. I'm done with my rant. Let me know in the comments if you liked this, if you have any more questions. All my plans, I do have vegan, plant-based plans as well, and I'm happy to go over that in depth with you guys. And I love all of you. Whatever you do, you. I fully support it. Just be educated. Do the math. Just do the math. That's it for today, guys. I'll talk to you later.